What works better, the carrot or the stick, as far as management and leadership styles go? I'll tell you my story. I spent absolutely years using the stick as my motivator. It was how I got my business off the ground. And to be fair, I was never really motivated by the carrot previously. I tried to start multiple businesses and none of them really went anywhere until I had a big enough stick behind me with the challenges we were dealing with my the company that I was working for at the time. And that became a major stick to motivate me to create the business, get it off the ground and get things going. Now, that said, there was some carrot involved there too. Like there was definitely vision and goals and where I wanted to be long term that were pulling me forward. But I never really got traction going until I had some variety of a stick behind me. But that said, then I spent the next few years really functioning from a stick management mode. And I say that because I really was my own manager and I definitely used much more of a stick approach. I was much harder on myself. I pushed myself further. I never really celebrated my wins. And what I found was that I ended up exhausted and burnt out. There was one day I literally pulled over on the side of the road. It was rush hour traffic, just in tears because I couldn't even cope with being stuck in rush hour traffic, because I was so tired and so burnt out. And what took me a few years to rewrite was this idea of functioning from a carrot perspective, but also not everyone loves carrots. So finding what my motivator was, what drew me forward, and then tapping into that. And what I found is that by functioning and managing myself more from a carrot perspective, a reward perspective, as opposed to a punishment perspective, I find that I tend to perform better. I have more energy. My clients tend to get better results. I get better results. And then I started testing this out on my team too, and I found the same thing happens. They went from being burnt out and producing mediocre or, acceptable but not great stuff to being able to produce really great stuff when they're functioning from a reward system. It takes a little while to get them going. And I can't say whether or not I would have ever gotten the business going if I had worked strictly from a reward standpoint. But I do think there's a time and a place for both. So my answer to the age-old question is that they're both valuable. And it's up to us to know when to use one versus the other. But I will tell you this. If you're watching this video, there's a pretty good likelihood you're a high-performing entrepreneur of some variety. And what I've learned over the years is that we don't need to be shamed and guilted and beat up. We don't need to be forced into corrections and to do things better and push harder because we push ourselves. This is why at Grow Disrupt, we build all of our events around acceptance over correction. Let me help you see how brilliant you are, how incredible you are. Let me help you understand how to work inside of who you are a little bit better. Because we found that produces better long-term results. And I would encourage you for yourself, but also for your team, to look at doing the exact same thing.